Hey guys, Tom here again from synthhacker.com, and welcome back to another tutorial for NI Massive. In this video we're going to be making that classic pitched huge trap lead that you hear in a lot of tracks. Really this is a template that you can do your own thing with. There's a lot of different directions that you can take it, but I'll just quickly demonstrate the sound we're going to be looking at. So you probably recognize that type of sound. It's really been used in a lot of trap recently, and it's just a really cool lead. It's actually quite interesting because we're not using any of the main oscillators. We're just using a combination of the noise oscillator and feedback, which I'll get into in just a second. But yeah, really cool sound. Like I said, you could really do a lot of different things with this and put your own twists on it. Maybe put some crazy modulation and external effects on it as well to kind of do your own thing with. Pitch it down or pitch it up and all that stuff. And yeah, really cool sound. We're going to go ahead and make it from scratch. As always, guys, if you haven't done already, definitely at some point go ahead and check out my website over at synthhacker.com. I'll click the link in the description below to go check out my preset pack for Massive. Currently, I have a sale on the Massive Mega Pack, which contains over 500 presets, all handcrafted by me. There's multiple genres of stuff in there, but a lot of the sounds really could be crossed over into different genres and whatever it is that you produce. And yeah, really cool sounds to use in your productions, and also to kind of reverse engineer and learn from further as well. But yeah, hopefully you definitely go ahead and check that out, and thanks in advance if you do. But without further ado, let's begin making this awesome trap lead. So the first thing we're going to do is just go into the voicing tab. And just make sure we've only got one voice of unison. We're just going to keep it on polyphonic. It doesn't really matter too much. I was only playing one note at a time in the demonstration at the beginning, but you might, decide you want to have, like a high note and a low note or something like that. Completely up to you. Oscillator section, we can just keep that as it is. We don't really want any vibrato in this sound, so I'm just going to remove that for now. We're going to go into the oscillator section and actually switch off oscillator 1. We're not going to be using the standard oscillators. Like I said, we're going to be using the noise oscillator and feedback to kind of generate the basic tone that we're looking for. We're going to use the bright noise waveform, or noise source, not waveform. Bring the color down and push the amplitude up a little bit as well, and route this through filter 1. And then we're going to use the feedback to route this sound back through the synth, which is really what gives it that weird pitchy effect. It's a combination of that and also what we're going to do in the filter section. And you can see in the routing here, it looks super complicated if you've not been using this screen much, but it's actually not too hard to understand. So the noise oscillator is generating the bright noise. It's being routed through the filter section and through all these effects and so on and so forth. And then you can see this button over here says FB, which stands for feedback. This noise source is then being routed back through to the beginning of the signal chain and then routed through the filter again. And the amount that this is of the signal that's routed through is determined by the amplitude here, which we've set quite high. So that's the basics of it, really. So we can move into the filter section now. If we're actually going to use a envelope here as well. And what I used was a high pass, sorry, not low pass. Wait, let me go. High pass 4-pole filter with quite high resonance. We're going to reduce it a little bit and bring the cutoff down a little bit as well. And then what we're going to do is actually set up an envelope to kind of open up the cutoff of this high pass over time. And we're going to do this with quite a lot of attack. We're going to put this about over halfway, something like that. And then we're going to bring the decay, the sustain, and the release actually all the way down. So we've just got this really slow attack modulation source. So what we're going to do, we're going to drag and drop this onto the cutoff of our filter. And what you'll notice here, if I'll play back the sound, is that the sound kind of rises in pitch. You've got this nice pitch tone from the feedback, but then because we're modulating the cutoff with a high resonance, you kind of hear this pitch rise, which is really cool, which is kind of the basis for the sound. So that's really, really cool. That on its own is actually a pretty cool sound, actually. And yeah, this is kind of like the basis for the sound. From here, at this point, you can do a number of different things. But I'm going to be doing exactly what you heard at the start. You could use different modulation sources, different effects. It's completely up to you, really. This is kind of the point where you can get creative. But just in case you want the exact sound that you heard at the beginning, I'll show you how I made that as well. So we've got this envelope modulating the cutoff source, but we also want to have the control the envelope that's controlling the amplitude of the sound, which by default is obviously envelope 4, as you can see up here. We're going to bring the attack of this right back so that we have this like nice sharp attack, not all the way back, just like quite far. And then we're going to keep the decay amount where it is, but we're going to bring the sustain right down, and we're not actually going to have any release either as well. And now what you'll hear is it has this much more kind of like plucky characteristic, which is pretty cool. And then all that's really left to do is set up our effects. So the first effect I had on was just a chorus, just to thicken the sound up a little bit, because it does sound a little bit thin at the minute. So just a little bit of dry wet, really, not too much. And then I had the rate, offset, and depth, kind of just where they are, really. And then all I added was a quite a big reverb. I brought the dry wet down a little bit, but then just boosted the size, brought down the density a bit, and boosted the color, so we get some nice crisp high end on the reverb. And then I just used an EQ just to boost the high shelf a little bit, again just to kind of bring the crispness of the sound out. And then we get this. Really, really cool. Hopefully you got a lot of use out of this tutorial. Some really cool tips with the noise and feedback that you can kind of use and do your own thing with. Definitely leave a like if you found the video helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below as always. And like I said earlier, if you haven't already, definitely go ahead and check out my website over at synthhacker.com, or click the link in the description below to go check out my preset packs for Massive. I really appreciate that. And also make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with new tutorials that I'm bringing out all the time as well. I really appreciate that as well. But that's all from me. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.